Hello and welcome to another AIC video. We have here a Lenovo T14 Gen 7 that literally just showed up off the back of the delivery truck from Lenovo for this review within the last half hour or so. But I always want to get in as quick as possible on this video with the hardware showcase. It gives me a chance to look at the system itself, show you guys the internals. I have a couple laptops over here. I have a E14 Gen 5 and a T14 Gen 2, just to compare side by side as far as dimensions and ports, things like that, for anybody who might be shopping one of these coming from one of those systems. So I've already gone ahead and unscrewed the bottom of the laptop, just in the interest of time. Go ahead, and this is how I typically pull these off, and they usually come fairly easily. Of course, this one's not going to because I'm recording. Just make sure I got these screws 100% loose. That one's good, that one's good. Yeah. Trying to be as careful as I can because this isn't my laptop. It is on loan from Lenovo. Alright, got the cover off. Isn't that pretty easy? We have a full-size NVMe SSD, 2280, which is nice. These are typically easier to find and cheaper to have versus the shorter 2240s. We do have the LPDDR5X Cam 2. So this is the same kind of memory that I have on my P1 Gen 7, which I really like. It's fairly expensive memory, but you get the same speeds as having it soldered to the motherboard while still being upgradable, and hopefully down the road as more systems move to this type of memory, but also as time goes on, that this becomes a lot cheaper. We have our WAN port, which obviously is not populated on this system. Well, we do have our Wi-Fi up here, which unfortunately is soldered. Taking a look here, this is our two USB-C ports, and it looks like it's the new style for both of them, where it is replaceable. So if you damage your USB-C port, you can swap out the little connector. So when I looked at the P1 Gen 8 recently, they only had one, and it was on the right side of the laptop, which in my opinion is the worst side of the laptop for a charging port to be on, because 90-something% of people are right-handed. And even if they're not, even my wife and my daughter, who are left-handed, use a right-handed mouse. That's just the way things are for left-handed people. I'm sorry. This is one beefy fan and heat sink for this system. We'll compare it to the other systems here shortly. But it is pretty big, so should have lots of cooling, or maybe this just needs that much cooling for the system. All right, so as far as ports go, we have one Ethernet, one USB Type A headphone microphone, and on this side we would have a SIM card reader here, which, well, again, this one was not optioned with that. Another USB Type A, HDMI, two USB Type Cs. I don't see a Kensington lock on here. I haven't seen, oh, there it is. I just missed it. Just on this side. Okay. I was gonna say, that's kind of something I've seen going away on, especially consumer grade systems, or on the especially thin and light systems. We have a pretty big battery here. So let's go ahead, set this to the side. We'll open up the other systems and take a look at their systems, see how they compare. All right, so first up against the E14 Gen 5, you can see the fan on this one. Maybe they're fairly close in size, but the heatsink definitely feels like it's bigger on the T14 Gen 7, and the heat pipe I feel is thicker, if not a little bit shorter, and that's probably just because of the layout. The E14 is an AMD system. It does not have replaceable USB-C ports, so if they go bad, it is a micro soldering on your system board or a system board replacement. It has two RAM slots, which one of my favorite things about this is it is quite upgradable. Not that I have that much DDR5 memory laying around right now. Nice big battery as well. So fairly similar layout, though I would say that the T14, because of the replaceable USB-C ports, is a more repairable machine than the E14 Gen 5. But other than that, fairly similar. All right, now we have the T14 Gen 2, which right now is the value king, I feel like, as far as prices go to performance. But it definitely has some drawbacks. One being that this only has one upgradable slot where half your memory is soldered. Mine happens to have 8 gigs of solder memory, and I did additional 8 gigs of RAM. Now, they both have 16 gigs of RAM now because of that, but this one I could upgrade. I don't even know how much this CAM2 memory goes up to. I think I've seen it as much as 128 gigs, where that isn't possible with the T14 Gen 2. But again, heatsink on the Gen 2 definitely seems less robust than the heatsink on the Gen 7. It does have socketed Wi-Fi, though this is an AMD model, and that does matter because most of the Intel models are soldered Wi-Fi. Both have the WAN slot that is not currently populated and a full-size SSD slot. So, and the Gen 2 does not have that replaceable USB-C ports. One thing I will say as far as a change in design, and this has been true for the E14 Gen 5 we just looked at, but because the bottom case doesn't go around any of the ports, these are so much easier to remove and service than these guys. So, especially right here, we get a very thin part in the plastic where it's very easy to crack here or to crack around your keyboard where it connects when you're taking this off. So that's something to be very mindful. I would much prefer this design. It is, in my opinion, much more robust. One thing I'm immediately noticed is lacking is any kind of drain holes for the keyboard. Now the keyboard is fairly easily replaceable. There's just 2 screws here, one here and one here, so you don't even have to remove the back case to be able to remove the keyboard. This one, I believe you have to pop off the 2 buttons for the track point, but right here we have a hole for a drain that goes here for the keyboard. So we have lost that drain. I have been using laptops for 35 years now, 30 something years. I've never spilled liquid on my laptop, so knock on wood, hopefully that never actually happens and I don't need that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to screw all these back together, put the back covers back on. We're going to plug this guy in. I'm going to go through some Windows updates on it on the Gen 7 and install a benchmarking tool, test out the keyboard a little bit, benchmark, and then really it's on you guys. What do you want to see? What do you want to know about this T14 Gen 7? I did post something on Reddit. I'll link to that so that way you guys can either comment on the video or comment on the Reddit post, whichever you prefer. And I will definitely be following up with a full video after I've had a chance to really use it and experience the system. All right, so we have done the benchmarking, and this is the score that we have, a 6407. Doesn't really mean a whole lot unless we compare it with something else. I did go ahead and buy a decibel beater, so we should be able to be getting some more interesting data with this review than I normally have. So I have my L14 Gen 5 here with its Ryzen 5, and we have a score of 4497. Pretty big improvement on both CPU and 3D Mark. So obviously there's a couple generations between these two, but I am getting more and more impressed by just how powerful the integrated iGPUs are in these newer systems. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not very far from now that you only have a dedicated GPU if for like AI work or really high-end gaming, because we'll definitely do some gaming on this laptop, but it should give us pretty good numbers with a lot of the gaming tests that we run. I also have another laptop to compare to. That is my P1 Gen 7, and this has a Core Ultra 9, and it has a pretty big improvement on that score, 9294, but it does have a dedicated GPU, a 4070 with 8 gigs of video memory. And the CPU mark is a pretty big jump as well at 29221 versus 21997. So be using this for the next few weeks. If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please leave those down below, and I will definitely take any requests into consideration of what you'd like tested on here within limits. I can't go out and buy thousands of dollars worth of software or anything like that. So definitely comment down below what you'd like to see, and I'll do my best to accommodate those. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.